Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay through this? No? Okay. Just better turn it up. Can you hear me? Okay, good. That better? All right. Okay. Well, I hope you can all hear me. Anyway, thank you all for coming today. This is kind of an informal memorial before the burial, but we just wanted to say a few words about my brother Sean, and thanks for coming. So, I'm just going to start by telling a little story, and then I think when I'm done, my sister and my wife, probably my wife, have something to say, and then we want to make it open to anyone who wants to share a few words about Sean, or a story, or a Seanism. I think those who know Sean knows what I mean by a Seanism. One of my earliest memories of Sean, and actually one of my earliest memories, is a dream that I had of my little brother. He'd been delivered to us in a block of ice and was defrosting downstairs on the fuse box in the alley on our house in 38th. Yeah, I know, it's weird. Being as young as I was, all I could think of was, I wonder how long it's going to be until he's upstairs with us. So the other day I had another dream, and in that dream it was a lot sadder. I had a dream I was chipping away at this block of ice, and my brother Sean was in that ice. So I woke up, and there's that little moment before you're really awake, and you go, oh man, that was weird. I can't wait to tell Sean about this. And then I realized, well, I'm not going to be able to tell him. Not anytime soon, anyway. So it occurred to me that, well, the space of time between those two dreams really is kind of why we're all here today. Each one of us, in that period of time that took place between those two dreams, we've shared some experience with Sean, some story or some time with Sean. And I thought that was a really cool thought. And here we all are, celebrate that time that we spent with Sean, the stories that we have with Sean, and, to talk about the good times and, hey, maybe a few of the bad times, who knows. But all those times, whether they were good or bad, they were all shared with a loving and kind and wonderful person, and one that'll be really missed by all of us. At least I know for sure I can speak for my family. Everyone in my family will sorely miss Sean. So today, while we're remembering Sean, feel free, at the end of my talking, at the end of whoever else comes up and talks, to come up and share a story or a few words. And I'd like to start that off with a little story I have about Sean, not the one about him being frozen and sitting on a fuse box in the alley. It's one, I haven't told it very often, and it happened so long ago, it's really hard to kind of make it make sense, but I'll just tell it. So, most of you know, we grew up here in the Avenues in the Richmond District, and back then, I think some of you are old enough to know about a time before the term helicopter parent existed, a time before GPS and cell phones, back when there was a thing that could happen to a child when you went out to play that your parents would always warn you against. He'd say, don't get lost. They'd always say, go out, have fun. You'd leave in the beginning of the day, and they might never see you until the end of the day. And they'd always say something like, okay, have fun, but don't get lost. So in the 70s, we lived in the Avenues up on 33rd. And on the weekends, after my parents split, we'd spend some time with my mother, who had moved out into the Mission District. So she moved out to the Mission District, and on the weekends, we'd go and see her. She lived down on 24th in York, a couple of blocks from SF General. And that's a completely different environment. Most of you people are natives, so the Mission's a little bit different than the Richmond District. So we'd get that warning in the morning, okay, go out, have fun, just don't get lost. Well, you know what happened. One day, Sean, he got lost. He got lost, and no one knew where he was. We were looking for him everywhere, You're getting interrogated, where did he go? Who did he know? Who was he playing with? And all that. And we searched frantically, for a while, and we didn't find him. And then just about the end of the day, I don't remember all the facts, I mean, I was maybe 10, 11, Sean was maybe 8, 9. At the end of the day, he turns up completely unscathed, like nothing happened. He gets the old, oh, where were you, what were you doing? Where'd you go? Were you kidnapped? And Sean's all, no, really, I don't know where I was. I didn't do it on purpose, and no, I wasn't kidnapped. So, in the end of the day, we were all just happy that Sean made it back, and dust settled, and we went on about our business. And, once it was just me and him, I was, okay, what really happened? Because we had our own little world. There was the parent world, there was other people's world, and then there was our world. In our world, we were always honest, even as adults. When we were kids, when we were old, we were always honest with each other. So I asked him, I says, so what really happened? And he said, well, no, that's actually what really happened. I was lost. I don't know how I got lost. I started walking, and the next thing I knew, I didn't know where I was. I tried finding my way back to where I started, and I couldn't, so I couldn't find my way back home. I said, well, then how the heck did you find your way back home? Because you turned up, right? And he said, then I saw the beer sign. I said, the beer sign? What beer sign are you talking about? And eventually I figured out, I learned later, that what he must have been talking about was the Ham's beer sign. It was out there in the 70s, above the brewery on 1550, Bryant. And I was all, you saw the beer sign? And he said, yeah. So I saw that sign, and I kept navigating my way or trying to orient it in a way that I had seen it before. And I thought, you're kidding me. And that's what he did. He said, I followed that beer sign, and I put it in a position in the sky to where I recognized a way that I had seen it in the past, and I found my way home. I mean, I found out where I made my way back to where I started, and eventually I found my way back to Mom's. And at that point, I had a little respect for my younger brother, let me tell you, because I was thinking, how could you even do that, right? Who would even think of that at 10 years old or 9 years old? That's Sean. And really, that's kind of why I picked this story. That's how Sean was. He navigated his life and in everything that he did in his own way. He worked things out. He couldn't not finish something. And everything he did was his own way. That was Sean. And like I said, that's where I learned a little respect for my brother. That's not the only thing about Sean. I mean, yeah, he couldn't be stopped, and he would always solve a problem, and he wouldn't be stopped, certainly not from a lack of resources, and maybe only having a beer sign to go by. But he was the kind of person where he always picked up the phone. He always picked up the phone. He never said no to somebody that needed help, and he would split his last dollar with you. And I know that because I split that dollar with him a couple of times. So, yeah, that was Sean to me. And I think for my family, at least for the ones really near, the world's going to be just a little bit dimmer for us in our family now that he's gone. And I know for sure that we are dearly going to miss him. We're certainly going to miss him at Thanksgiving. Loved having him up then. And, yeah. So that's my story. How Sean did things, how he got through his life, and how I admire him for his improvisational skills. Not long after he died, I was going through my father's things because, it kind of brings things up. And I found something in there. It was an old Irish, I don't know if I'm going to be able to read it, because I might start crying. If I do, sorry. But it's an old Irish, blessing. And it goes, may the road rise up with you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine upon your face, and the rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God keep you in the hollow of his hand. Godspeed. Thank you. So there are a couple of other people that wanted to say a few words. I think my wife, that's her. Debbie. And then once Debbie's done, I think maybe one other person might want to say something. And after that, mic will be open for anyone that wants to speak. I think Brian might. And then I'll have a few closing words at that to kind of give us the direction out.
Here, you take this. You made this look easy. Okay. Hi, everyone. Really appreciate you coming. And I don't know if I'll do as good as Brendan, but I'm going to try. So. Sean, where do I begin? You've been in my thoughts every moment since you passed away. By the way, I'm going to read this fast because I ended up writing a lot. Okay. You were as close to a brother as I've ever had since I'm an only child. We really look forward to your weekend visits at our place, and I can't believe you won't be coming to see us again. Around this time, we should have been booking your train ticket for Thanksgiving, but instead we're making your final arrangements and here to say our farewells today. This really is crazy, and I still can't believe this has happened. So I'm a bit of a bullet person, and I thought I would just go with that here today. So here we go. These are just a few of the many things I've been thinking about since he left so stubbornly close to his 60th birthday. This is in no particular order. Taking the train, you coming up to visit, spending weekends with us here and there. We always look forward to it, and we were always so sad to see you go back home. Most of the time we were running late and getting you back to the train station. Unbelievably, we never missed the train. In fact, this last time we cut it so close that I had to drop you guys off at the curb and you guys darted to the train while I parked. And that was super close. GPS. You were our tour guide and our GPS of the city when we were here visiting you. I put away my maps or GPS or phone or whatever I had at the time, whatever I used. You knew exactly where to go, how to go, shortcuts. You barked out the orders, and it was amazing how well you knew this city. Kit Kats and cucumbers. You loved Kit Kats. I tried to always remember to get you a few when you visited, and I put them in your room, and you didn't like cucumbers. Your parents, Brendan and Mary. Sean, I'm so grateful to them for giving me Brendan and for giving all of us you. Walking. You walked so much all over the city. I always was in awe of that, and I can't imagine walking that much. When you and Brendan got together, you guys would go out on walks, and sometimes I'd go and trailing your shadow, letting you guys chatter away up ahead. I love watching you guys walk together and carry on about stories past and getting caught up too. I so loved that, and I took many pictures of you guys from behind. The doctor. You amazed me in all that you did to keep up with your not-so-perfect health. You had so much to deal with, many appointments and tests and labs and procedures and medicines to juggle. I applaud you. It wasn't easy. Thanksgiving. I loved how well you got along with my side of the family and friends when you came up for the holidays. They all grew to love you. I'll remember your fun stories, your big appetite, your big smiles, your eating desserts, loud, genuine laughter, and the family feud games that we'd all play. And how Herbert and Jane and my mom especially loved you, and the football games on TV, and how our kitties and our dog loved you too. And then the Black Friday shopping escapades afterwards with parking and long lines and trying to find you in the stores and trying to find items in stock and all of that. Sports. You loved the Giants and the 49ers. There's nothing more that needs to be said there. Family. I love how you kept in touch with the rest of your family when you could, and your past visits to Craig and Rebecca and Susan and George, and that was so very cool. Family is so important. Look, guys, it's a lot. Okay. I'm gonna talk fast again. Brendan. I loved watching you and Brendan interact as brothers. You guys were tight. You'd talk most of the time, a few times a week. And when you were here, you were always so happy just to hang out and do nothing. Just shoot the breeze, get caught up, TV on in the background, watching car chases on old TV shows or movies, and go out for a walk or throw the ball in the street or in the park, always laughing and carrying on and feeding off of each other, sometimes finishing each other's sentences. You are Brendan's memory bank. What in the world is he going to do without you? The Cruchins, your lifelong family friends. Vicki, Victoria, and Natalie, they loved you so much, and their lives will never be the same at home without you. I thank them for all that they've done for you, and I know they thank you for all that you've done for them. I can't even imagine what home is like there now without you. What will they do without you? Adam. She is another lifelong family friend. Her mom and your mom were friends long, long ago. As I understand it, they both had 6 kids, including you and Adam. Adam reached out to us after you passed away, and it is so sad that she's not able to be here today. I offered to read something from her about you, and I'll share that with everyone next. Sean, the world is a dimmer place without you and your smiles and your genuine laughter and your funny stories and your positive attitude. But I know you're in a better place now. You no longer have any more doctor appointments or pain or stress, and you're probably getting caught up with Michael and your mom and your dad and your past pups as we speak. I'm sending big hugs to you. Please watch over all of us here, and may you forever rest in peace. So, as if this wasn't hard enough, I'm going to read something from Adam. Bear with me, thank you. Okay. Hold on, it's coming. Okay, here we go. A few words about my beloved friend Sean. Sean was a gifted storyteller, so funny and so fun to laugh with. He was down to earth and real in a way that made his presence feel timeless. Piercing blue eyes, beautiful smile, he was always making me laugh no matter what I was going through in life. Sean was deep, solid, authentic, loving, and loyal. A precious and genuine article, piece of the best of real San Francisco. He was relentlessly hardworking with admirable work ethic and fine skill in his many crafts. He regularly blew me away with his extensive knowledge of all aspects of his work. Sean had a passion of expression and a purity of heart which inspired fierce love. Such character, uniquely sweet, you could never stay mad at him because he was disarmingly lovable. I've loved him dearly all my life, and I will miss him incredibly forever. This is an old diary entry from one of our visits about 5 years ago. This is what it felt like to be with Sean. The last time I had the feeling of that song, Wild Night by Van Morrison, I was in San Francisco walking with my friend Sean on a cool December night. He wanted to cook dinner for me, but I wanted to be out walking. We walked all over Clement Street, Geary, Anza, Balboa, Arguello to 11th Avenue, up and down, zigzagging, arm in arm, talking fast, laughing hard, walking buoyantly. I took pictures of him all over our streets, the streets that hold our early childhood memories and our older childhood memories and our teen years separately and together. 1,000 scenes and experiences and ghosts of old friends talking about everything. We got pizza and beer. We got warm and fuzzy. I took pictures of him all over our old neighborhood, where he still lives and where he is now dying, as I'm thousands of miles away looking at pictures of him. We're old school native San Franciscan walkers. We can walk everywhere and go fast and feel like we're flying. I needed to have that time with him. I've known him since I was born. I don't know when or if I'll ever see him again. Wild night is calling. And so, thank you all. That was hard, but I did. Did you guys have anything? Anyone would like to come up?
Hello, everybody. My name is Mike Nigro. I met Sean in the early 90s. We painted and did remodeling together. And right off the bat, when I met Sean, what I liked about him was his dry and somewhat dark sense of humor, and that big smile he always had, He was very sincere. And there were two guys in my life that could walk. Sean was one, and Daryl was another one. Daryl worked with this. He went by the name D. The last couple of years, we've been going up to Hot August Nights. It was Gary and Clarence, me and Sean and T-Bone. And the last time we were up there, Sean looked out the window. We were at the Grand Sierra, but he wanted to be downtown. He liked the Calneva and some of the older clubs. Plus, if things got bad, he could always take Amtrak home, right? So Sean was always the thinker. So he looked out the window, and the next morning he was up at 4:30, and he walked. Got on his phone and figured out it's only about 6 miles. So boom. We ended up catching up with him later in the afternoon down there, and that's just the way, that's how he was, If you want to spend some quiet time with Sean, play the song by James Taylor, A Walking Man Walks, and you'll understand. And then the other thing I want to do is, my most favorite quote is from Walt Whitman. And it says, I've come to know that to be with those we love is enough. Thank you.
I'm not really good at these sort of things, so do the best I can. I met Sean way back in early 80s. It's where a lot of the fun started when we were young. 1982, 1983. Went to school with his younger brother and Michael Fee, and we became good friends. And I got to know Sean through Michael, and we had a lot of good times. A lot of great times, a lot of fun, a lot of laughs. And there was one thing about Sean, he had a way of really making a good evening, and really getting you to laugh quite a bit, and that was great. We'd go up, when you guys were living on 8th and Anza, we used to go walk out to Rossi, play football, and play catch and stuff. And I just remember one day, throwing Sean the ball, and he's like, "You throw it better than that, right?" It was like, so he was about maybe 30 yards out, so I threw him a bullet, and he went to go catch it, broke his finger, and he was just like jumping up and down. He ended up going to the hospital and everything. It was just, but we had some good times, lots of memories, and just had a lot of fun. And I'm grateful for that from him. When Sean had passed away, I was very hurt to hear about that. Mike passed away in 2007, about a week after my father had. And after that happened, me and Sean hanged out quite a bit together. And it was very comforting. And he got me to laugh in my darkest times. That's all I got to say.
All right, I don't want to start whining. Well, I'm trying to tell you the story. I met Sean about 20 some odd years ago when he was working with Danny, I guess, and Clarence. And ever since then, when he moved back to the city, we started working together quite a bit. And all I can say about Sean is he was a good friend, the most honest person I've ever known. And he always talked about, going up to your place in Brendan and about Vicky and their family. And he always said that he was, devoted to them and taking care of them and so on. So I just want to say that Sean, he's the most honest person that you could ever deal with. You could leave him at your house or whatever. He was a good man, hard worker, and I'm going to miss him a lot. Okay, and I told him just a few minutes ago, I said, I'll see you at the gates, Sean, because I know he didn't want to go now, but the day that I dropped him off at the I dropped him off at the hospital. He said, I'll see you tomorrow, Gary. So 2 days later, I got a call from Clarence. He said, yeah, massive heart attack, passed away. So all I got to say to you, bro, is I'm going to miss you. And we'll see you around. Thank you.
Wow. Having done this in the last year and a half since I lost my brother, growing up in this neighborhood, we'd drive through here, see this place, and I never thought I'd be here. It just was such an alien place to me. We never thought we were going to die, right? Anyways, I put together a few words because I'm not good at remembering this stuff, speaking publicly, so I'll just go ahead and read this. Sean was my first best friend, whom I've known since my earliest childhood memories. He was up there on 33rd. We were on 32nd. And I can't tell you how many birthday parties we experienced, as kids. How many trees we climbed, how many times we walked the trails of Land's End together. We were inseparable for much of our early years. We hung out almost daily, especially in the summers, touring the streets and parks of San Francisco with wild abandon. Yeah, and that's what it was. He was a great kid. I mean, we went all over the whole city. We'd get on a bus. We'd be downtown. We went everywhere. He was a great kid and a loyal friend. I mean, I've heard a lot of that here today, and I guess it's not surprising. And really loyal friend. I don't recall ever having a crossword with him, not once. Both of us had challenges, growing up. We got into a lot of trouble. We had, I would say both of us had flawed parents, not perfect. We didn't have a lot of a support system, and back then, kids were basically left to their devices to find their way, and we got into a lot of trouble. But through it all, Sean was always honest, surprising. A lot of our friends weren't. A lot of my friends weren't. Compassionate, and at least to my recollection, he was always positive and upbeat. He was just a pleasure to be around. We grew up to be teenagers, and then as young men, and we slowly grew apart and spent less time together. Around that time, I recognized the strong bonds he developed with Vicki and Natalie and the family, the Cruchins, and I thought that was really great. I was going to say that I would like to take some time here today and find out more about Sean's life over the period of time when I left to the present, and I guess that's already kind of happened. I've learned a lot, and it was really a great feeling to know that he had so many family members and people that loved him, and friends, and how highly he was thought of. Comforting to me. So as I had mentioned, I moved out of state as a young adult, but I often thought about Sean and wanted to reconnect with him and find out what he was doing. But it was pretty hard back then. I left in '93. There wasn't much of an internet, and I drew a blank. I couldn't find him. And finally, off and on, I would ask people back in the neighborhood that I talked to periodically, do you know what happened to Sean? And I even looked on the internet a few times, and finally 2 years ago I found his number. I can't remember exactly how. I might have seen a profile and drawn a link, and anyway, I got his number off the internet, and I called him up 2 years ago, and we talked. We talked for, I don't know, a couple hours. I don't know if whether he told anybody about that, but we talked, and it was great. I think we talked about some of the twists and turns our lives had taken, and what he was doing now, and what I was doing, and we talked about Michael's untimely death, and how hard it was to lose a brother at a young age. That conversation meant a lot to me, and I hope it did to him too. I subsequently lost my own brother in June of 2023 to a heart attack, 6 months shy of his 60th birthday. So this feels really similar, because Sean and I were like brothers. So we talked about me coming to San Francisco to visit, and I guess I just waited too long, because he's left this earth, and I know there's a God. I know there's an afterlife. I don't think there is. I know there is. And I know he's in paradise right now, looking down on us, experiencing the peace and joy that a guy like him deserved in life. So long, brother. That's it.
Hello. My name is Soraya, and I want to go ahead and share a little bit about my experience that I had with Sean and with Natalie and Vicki. And thank you, Natalie and Vicki, for accepting me, inviting me here, along with his brother Brendan. I'm very glad to be here for Sean today. Sean and I met in 1981 or 1982. I was in high school at the time, and we met through a mutual friend. We shared a bond together. We were actually roommates, and we grew up together in the same household. My family, my biological family, has known Sean for a long time. My mother, my father, my sister. And we just carried that bond throughout the 80s, the 90s. Sean and I would take trips up to Reno. We'd go to Monterey to visit Brendan. We would spend Christmases together at Mr. Fee's house with your fathers, with Michael. We shared a really strong bond together. And I know that there's others here in this room today that really love Sean as much as I do. And I want to thank you. And I want to just share that I gave my life to God because I know that there's something more meaningful than myself. And as I'm here standing in front of Sean, I can't imagine losing such a good friend and a partner. And thank you so much. And that's all I just want to share. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to try. Sean was my brother, and I thank you guys for sharing him with us so much. My mom loved him. He meant so much to us. He was such a kind. He loved all his animals. His biggest thing was his dog Bandit. He went everywhere with Bandit. He just loved that dog. He loved all animals. And he had a very, very tight bond with my sister Vicky. She would be here today, but she couldn't make it. And we just really thank you, and I really thank everybody for the time that I did have with Sean, because he was so, so special and so kind to people. He helped me out so many times. He was my protector, my friend, my brother, and now he's my angel. And I know my mom feels the same way. And we just want to say thank you guys for understanding how much we loved Sean. He came to us, you know, he was a little broken and had his little quirks and stuff, but he used to help my grandma in the backyard with all the trees and loved being out there with her. And he loved all our kids. My son Nick, he was at his wedding, and he really loved Nick, and he was great with the kids. I always used to tell him, Sean, you need to settle down, get married, have a child of your own because you're so good with them. And he was really a good friend to everybody. If anybody needed anything, Sean would give it to them. I mean, he would take his coat off his back and just, he was a great guy. And he is going to be truly missed at our home and your home. And, you know, but he was a really good guy. And thank you for sharing him with us. We loved him so, so much. Thank you.
As one of Sean's brothers, I want to thank you all for coming too. You all probably knew him better than I did. You know, I knew him when he was 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, and he was always fun then. I do remember he loved the 49ers. He loved the Giants. We did have a kind of a dysfunctional family in 100 different ways, but we all managed to keep going and do what we need to. I always felt Sean was the essence of San Francisco. I mean, he was just the guy there, you know. We all loved him, and we thank you guys for coming. We really appreciate it. And I'm so impressed with his life, seeing that so many people came here and were touched by him and had such a wonderful experiences with him. We appreciate you. We appreciate Sean, and we're just so glad you guys had a chance to come out. Thank you.
So maybe just a couple of technical things if no one else would like to come up. In a few minutes, we'll carry Sean out to a car, and then we'll drive up to Holy Cross Cemetery. It's not going to be a funeral procession, as they don't have the escort, so we'll all just kind of meet there. The address of the cemetery is on the program. If you didn't grab one on the way in, there's one in the back. And then you can just put that in your GPS or just follow us. We'll probably make our way up there. Then there'll be a graveside service for anyone who wants to come. And then after that, we thought we should gather and have a little something to eat. So we picked a place that Sean would probably be okay with, and that's Round Table Pizza in Colma, not far. So we'll order up a couple of pizzas, and anyone who wants to come on over, come on down, and we'll just have a little something to eat. So, like I say, in a few more minutes, they'll come in and we'll start preparing. But certainly, if anyone wants to come up and say a few words, we still have a few more minutes. Yeah.
As far as driving by Sean's place or something, maybe who have. Okay, hi.
New
So
information.
they were explaining to us that, we could follow Sean to Holy Cross if we want, but not really as a there might be stoplights that you fall back. But at first, we're going to drive by Sean's, where he lived. So, and maybe Vicki could give a wave. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the plan. When we head out, we're going to drive by Sean's and Vicki and Victoria and Natalie's area right there. And then we'll just all meet up in front of the office at Holy Cross. And then we'll park there, and then we'll follow the Sean car up to the site. Okay.
Thank you all for being here.